So, this is better late than never. I probably should have got this out way sooner than we are, but finally doing my probably like my not complete thoughts because there's probably thoughts I just have that you know aren't going to get here, but just kind of a breakdown of my thoughts for Arcane and like what I like, what I dislike, just everything that's up in my little brain. So starting off, just will say, it is a must watch. For me, I would say is right under uh, Avatar: The Last Airbender as like the best animated show. It is so good. I do think season one is way better than not way better is better than season two. But even that, I still think season two is really solid and really good. Uh, from thing of I guess for number reasons, season one 9 out of 10, and then season two 8 out of 10. Just for numbers and more, I guess like representing what I think. While Avatar: The Last Airbender, that's 10 out of 10. Maybe I'll make a video on that eventually, but that is the best animated show in this world. But this is not Avatar video. This is Arcane. So let's get back on track. I'm gonna start with what I did, what I liked about like in general, and then we'll go from there. So starting off, gotta say, anime soundtrack is stellar. I know, a common opinion, but it's true. In both seasons, they just blow stuff out of the water. In those regards, so not much saved by there. But I was like, start off with that because they're the two I think most consistent thing between both seasons. Zon is I would say my favorite backdrop and area in the series. Way more than Piltover. Not the biggest fan of Piltover, like just look wise and other shit. But Zon is awesome. Like the general feel of that place and like how good it's like characterized. Oh my god. Uh, and just like the feeling of like the struggles that they're going through, the resourcefulness of them, and just like especially with the struggles, just feeling the struggle between what they're dealing with Piltover and then what Silco's doing in there. Even though his whole thing is for Zon, but he still messes it up and stuff. So that's all good. Way better than Piltover. I don't know what it was, but just Piltover never really grabbed me, and that's fine. Definitely feels like Zon was the more of like, oh, here's this that they want to focus on more than Piltover. At least to me. Favorite characters is unsurprisingly all from Zon in that case. Being Jinx, of course, Echo, Victor, and Silco also as favorite characters, but all from Zon. And Jinx was the best character out of the whole stuff. Just the struggles and just how in depth and complex they have her, and just her story. It's all so good, so good. I'll get more into that probably a little bit later, but definitely that. And then Echo, Victor, and Silco are all kind of around the same. I think Silco is a little bit above the other two, just because. Man, he is a character, and I love him. And I love the conclusion to his story at the end of season one. Like the ending of season one is just so good. It's so good how it ends. I might get in that a little blare. I don't know. I'm not really like I wrote a script, but I'm kind of jumping around a little bit more than I've been meaning to. But I love this show, so I'm not surprised. I'm just like, oh, I like this, boo boo boo. But on that, but like since it also pertains to characters and stuff, I think besides anime the animation and soundtrack, and one of the other best parts of Arcane is the relationships that it has through them. Most of the relationships feel very like feels very complex and very just deep and interesting, at least to me. There's some where I'm like, it's whatever. Like Marcus is probably one where I'm just like, whatever, right? Even though I like Marcus's character because he's just awful. At least to me, he's just awful. Even though it's also like, you can kind of guess stuff, but like being the sheriff, and then like especially how he became sheriff, so being deep into Silco's pocket. So like even on the ones where I'm just like, it's okay, they still feel very awesome and cool. Mostly. There's some that I'll get back. We'll get into for what I disliked, which spoiler for later on in the video, a lot of it is really going to be centered around season 2. But for examples of relationships I think are really good, Jinx and Silco's father and daughter relationship, amazing. I would say one of the best parts of season 1. And especially just with how we see them, and then how stuff plays out in season 2, and like some layer scenes. It's all so good. Like just the trauma that they both have, and like kind of share and kind of are bonded through, especially oh my god, but definitely that. And then the different sides that we get to see of them, like Silco being like how Silco is, being like very kind of like monster, and like being like, oh, he's going to achieve his goals no matter what. And then just seeing the more caring side that we see with him and Jinx, that she kind of pulls out. It's just so good. Especially that ending for that stuff. I think just really hits home from being able to see the different sides. Jason Victor's another relationship. The whole bonding, like with Hextech and like the Arcane and their whole adventure, to like the like development of like the desperation that they both kind of have, with Victor dying. Spoiler alert! I'll have that put at the beginning, but this is going to have spoilers. I just was saying that, I was like, oh shit, it's still recent. I should probably do that. Well, anyways, and then like from season 1, the desperation we see of Jace, wanting to save Victor, and we see in season 1 too, but it's a lot more in season. Did I see season 2? We see in season 1, but it's a lot more in season 2. So, but just the different, like the desperation from them both, and just how much they care for each other, I think is amazing. And then another, and probably like the other standout one I feel is Echo and Jinx's relationship, from old friends, to enemies, and then the love that still exists between them. I think it's really good, and I wish we saw more with that. But with what we got, I think it's still good. Like one of my favorite scenes is the bridge fight in season 1 between both of them, just cause seeing a different side with how Jinx is with Silco, and then seeing Echo bring out a different side of Jinx with like her to play along with their old game and other stuff, and then like just seeing the falter from like Echo and also Jinx, and just like how both would guilt of past actions, really, which I think really comes around in season 2. I think it makes sense. And of course, Echo being the one to kind of bring Jinx finally from the brink of death and stuff, I think is just it was a really good thing. I think it sets up Echo as just a like one of the few characters that is just really good and just right in a lot of his stuff, which I know some people have problems with, but I think in general it's pretty good. Especially with him being part of defeating Hextech at the end, like him and Jace being the two to fully beat Victor and kind of end Hextech and the corruption and stuff. I think it's just so good, and I think the whole saving Jinx and stuff kind of helps set that up, and just since how he was involved with indirectly the creation of Hextech, since he was also he was the one who gave the tip to buy powder. So it's really good that without really interacting with Jason Victor a lot, he's still important and still one of the few to help in the end to beat that whole stuff. I think it's just really good. And then like Jinx, I love the ending to her character with her breaking the cycle. I think her ending is the strongest. Unsurprisingly, main character. But just because she's main character, that doesn't mean she'll have the strongest. But she does. So that's pretty cool. With her breaking the cycle, and then like also in her journey helping bring Zahn together, kind of how like Silco wished for. I mean, he definitely wished for different stuff, but in the end, still bringing Zahn and stuff together. So that's just really cool, especially with the whole Vander Silco stuff of wanting Zahn and trying to uniform, but both of them failing for different reasons, and then Jinx, who's had both of them as her father, being the one to really help bring them together, since there's also other, people helping too, with like Savika and the Echo and shit, but her still being very important on bringing it together is really good. And then and finally, Hextech is just insanely cool. Everything with the Hextech is just so good. Jason Victor with Hextech is awesome. Just seeing Hextech and the corruption and just how it changes and grow and all that is just so fun to watch, especially watch it go from being created to help people and like help people of the Undercity to then a kind of corrupted wish of that and is on the path to just destroying the world and shit. It's just really fun and stuff. And then just like it's a little bit in the background, it feels like, and also just up front too. So it's just throughout it feels like, and you're just like, oh, this is so cool and dangerous, and it's so fun to watch. And especially the end state it takes with Victor and stuff is so cool. And the Hextech weapons are again so cool. Like I think I like all of them. Even Caitlyn's oh my god, sniper. Jesus Christ. Caitlyn's sniper and stuff. But for me at least, Jace's corrupted hammer is so cool. Is the coolest of the Arcane, of the Hextech weapons. So that was me gushing. Now let's get into what I disliked about some stuff. One of the biggest problem I have is pacing and is the pacing at points and cut content, and that's I think really big in season 2 for me. And like it works, especially TV shows and shit are always going to have like content that doesn't make any shit, but just some of the decisions to cut, and then also the decision to leave in is just a little bit a little bit weird. Like, cutting the Zon content hugely from the finale, I think it's just such a like bad decision in my part, and I think really weakens this stuff. Like, it's still cool seeing Zon and the characters from Zon like join in the battle and like help turn the tides and stuff. But it's still just like it would have been so good to see Echo Jinx, Savika, the Firelights, before the big battle, kind of rallying Zon to be like, get them to help, even though like Piltover has screwed them over pretty much any chance it gets. So I think that would have been amazing to see, and from that, the keeping the Vi and Caitlyn scene, the scene I'm talking about, episode 8, is a weird decision. I don't it feels weird, especially from going from like Vi and Jinx's conversation to that, and then that got kept in, and that was apparently way longer and more graphic, I've heard. But to keep that on how it was, and then remove Zong content, I don't agree. I don't think they should have did it like that. But that's just me. I know a lot of people liked it, which, hey, good for them. Season 2 just feels quicker than season 1. I'm okay with it, because to me, at least, and I'll get in this later, the focus shift between season 1 and season 2. So, and then I think if you look in season 2, it makes it a little bit, in my opinion, if you view it as something like how I'm going to explain later, it feels better. However, and it does feels a little quick to wrap up. Wrap up. The ending feels a little quick to wrap up for the series. I think it's generally good, but sorry, that was my dog. But I think it's still okay for what we got, and definitely could be worse, but maybe a little bit, and definitely should have got maybe a little bit more time, it feels like. But with pacing and like cut content issues out the way, another and that's really the only problem for season 2 for me. The other things I kind of dislike, or I dislike, actually, I dislike, but they're not as big an issue as the pacing. It's just some of the characters, and we're starting off with Maddie. I like the betrayal. I think that's a good thing to have. However, it feels a lot more out of nowhere than it probably should. And like, you get a little bit of vibe from her with when she's introduced, and then when she starts pounding, she's the first to start pounding her chest from Piltover. It's just like maybe like a scene or two might helped with the whole betrayal. So I'm not the biggest fan of her, and it's like, and then like the relationship her and Caitlyn have. You have like one scene, and then Caitlyn will mention it later. To my knowledge, I think it's only those, and then nothing else, which I get. It's not like a real relationship in that regard, but it just felt a little weird, just as like a little tack on, be like, oh yeah, this, and like, I guess that was also as a thing to help for the betrayal. I still just think we got maybe like a couple more scenes, it probably would just work better in general. And then I liked Caitlyn's character more in season 1 than season 2. Just how extreme, like how quickly she goes to the extreme in season 2, which I know she's still with guilt, but it still feels very abrupt from going season 1 to then Act 1, season 2 of gassing people in Zon. And like, not a lot of people talk about it. Like I think they should have been like, oh hey, she was gassing people. That's kind of fucked. And yes, Silco did similar stuff to the Chem Barons. However, he is a straight up villain. And 2, it's a little bit different to him using the gas on the Chem Barons, who are not regular civilian of Zon. They are guilty of stuff, and they are also part of the upper echelon. I fucked that up somehow. Oh my god. Of Zon. And shit. So like, it's like, yeah, he's a bad guy, and it makes sense for him to do this. From Caitlyn, who's gray and stuff, but from how she is in season 1 to go to season 2, where she's going to the gas and stuff, a little weird. I think it would work better if like maybe she did an Act 2 and stuff, and now get into Vi character, who I dislike more, because at least Caitlyn feels like a character in season 2 more than Vi, at least to me. I wasn't big on Vi in season 1, but I was like, okay, we're setting up stuff, we're doing good, we got this. A little iffy on her in season 1, like, and especially with like the whole like Jace kills a kid, and she's like, he knew what he was signing up for. But like, season 1 Vi is way better. Her season 2 is just so much worse feeling, at least for me. She just feels there to be like, oh, here's Vi, and she's going to help move plot a little bit, even though there's so many other characters that push the plot more than her, and just her going along with anything, which is probably like maybe a thing they're trying with her character and stuff. However, it just feels like, to me, it felt like in season 1, like she was a more headstrong character and being like, oh, I got this idea, and it just feels very lost, which again is probably a thing going for her and stuff, is having her feel like more as like very lost and stuff. It just feels like there's not much time with her to like fully get that, in my opinion. And then, especially with having her go along pretty much immediately. It's not immediate, because she refuses to become an enforcer for like one time, and then she pretty much joins up. But it's her just going along, gassing Zon, and like I was saying earlier, I think if they had Act 2 Caitlyn do that, I think it would have just been better, because then Vi would have been with Caitlyn. Caitlyn would, pretty much been kind of alone and have Mbessa in her ear. And I think it's just at least for me, went over better if Vi wasn't with Caitlyn, and Caitlyn is gassing people in Act 2 and other stuff like that. And like, either her or Caitlyn really have consequence for their actions like that, except for like Jinx calling them out and then reversing the gas, which yes does lead into Jinx being seen as more of a symbol to Zon. However, I think there should have been maybe more consequences directly to Caitlyn and Vi. And like, even then, Jinx is just really calling out Vi, because like, to her, Caitlyn's an enforcer, and how Zon views enforcer is like, okay, this is something they would do and stuff. So it's really mainly calling out Vi. But other than that, that's like the main things I disliked of season 2. So definitely like Maddie, Caitlyn, and Vi are probably like my least favorite of season 2. Maddie, because just feels very tacked on, and then Vi and Caitlyn, because it just definitely felt like, and it goes into pacing, that needed more time for certain stuff for the characters, and just more time with probably them in general. Um, so yeah, neutral. I only have a couple of little things where I'm like, I don't like. I'm not a big fan of it, but also I don't hate it. I'm just like, it's okay. It's fun. It's good. It's fine. And that's Vander and Warwick. I love Vander's character, like what we see of him, and just the tragic, how tragic his character is. But Warwick, cool. I liked it. Nothing really else. I liked his design. How they had him in the story was okay. Felt very like, I guess it's fitting that he's more of just a pawn. Kind of just adds to the tragedy. Oh my god. How just adds to how tragic of a character Vander is. And then Singed, probably could have seen more of him. But with what we got and how he's pretty much the only one that like just fully wins in the end. He just gets everything he wanted. It's kind of funny, especially since he's also a part of the problem in a lot of the situations. And then like Echo, my man, just gets one of the worst endings. And then here's Singe, he just wins. It's kind of funny, and I liked it. Any other quick thoughts I kind of have is just Echo's low screen time. He still just steals the show. So like it would have been awesome game more, but with what we got is just amazing, and so I guess I guess it's fine with what we got since it does steal the show and stuff. And then Jinx's shimmer scene when she's being injected and all that is awesome. And then like kind of shows more of Singe's stuff, him showing kindness to Silco, being like, hey, I had a daughter, I'm going to knock you out. Also probably because Silco immediately went and put a knife to his throat, so it's also for his own safety. But those favorite soundtracks, season 1, it's What Could Have Been. The ending for season 1 is just, that song is amazing. Just the scene it's in, it's just everything about it is so perfect. I would say out of everything, the ending to season 1 is a 10 out of 10 ending for me. And then season 2 to Ashes and Blood, similar. It's just such a perfect scene with Jinx, Vi, Caitlyn, Svika all fighting, and then seeing Jace, seeing the results and effects of Hex Tech, and just the shit that happened, or how it's progressing, and the realization. And then, favorite act, season 1 is Act 1, and then season 2 is Act 2. Just because season 1, Act 1 is such a strong start, and it just has such a heartbreaking end for it. And then season 2, Act 2, just seeing Jinx, Isha, Vander, Victor, and like just seeing all of that come together, and just setting up for the final act. I think it's one of the best. Or I think it's the best act out of season 2. Or at least for my favorite. And favorite episode, just for both season 1 and season 2, episode 7. And that is because those are the Echo episodes that also heavily focus Jinx. So, those are my favorite episodes. But, yeah, I really liked Arcane. This was kind of all over the place, and I don't know how long this will end up being, but I really enjoyed it. I think season 2, again, it's worse. However, I think it's still an 8 out of 10 and still recommend watching. Just in general, I think Arcane's worth watching. I put it under Avatar: The Last Airbender. But so I'm excited to see more from them. I can't lie. especially it looking as Noxus as the next region. I'm not that into League lore, really introduced with Arcane, so yeah, and I think it'd be nice seeing Mel have some more stuff, because season 1 she's awesome, season 2 feels a little bit weaker for her, but that, we'll see what we get in that series or show. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed about my thoughts on Arcane, with how late I'm getting out. But if you did, leave a like, give me like who your favorite characters are from Arcane. But again, hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.